I had to check and see. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here today as we highlight suicide prevention awareness in Fresno County. This is National Suicide Prevention Week during our National Suicide Prevention Month. And while we're making deliberate efforts this month to really focus on suicide prevention, the work is year-long. It's really important to us that people realize that we take 1 month to look at it, but the work is ongoing all of the time. The past few years, the past couple in particular, have shown us all the importance of our mental well-being. As we've collectively dealt with stress, anxiety, depression, we now have a shared appreciation for the importance of maintaining hope. This year's theme for suicide prevention awareness, we're calling the 3 R's, reconnect, recenter, and rebuild. These themes describe ways we can support ourselves and those in our community to help counteract the feelings that can lead to hopelessness and thoughts of suicide. The first R is reconnect. During the past year and a half, we've been forced to change our routines, our activities, how we work, and how we receive care, as well as having to maintain physical distance. We need to reconnect after this disruption in our lives. We need to talk to our friends, our families, our coworkers, our neighbors, to check on each other and to check on our community. This sense of disconnection can impact different people in different ways. So we're really encouraging people to reconnect safely with each other. Check in, call your friends and family, write a letter, find your own way to reconnect. The second R is recenter. As we've experienced the pandemic and the fire, political and ideological divisiveness, natural disasters, it can impact our wellness, our mindset, and how we view the world around us. So we encourage people to recenter. Find a way to focus on your own personal priorities, including your own wellness. As you reconnect with others, disconnect from the negative influences in your life. Get back to your focus, your calling, and your passions. Tune out from the negativity and focus on the positives to help center you. The third R is rebuild. Our community has been impacted by the pandemic as well as natural disasters. Some have lost businesses, they've lost jobs, homes, and even lives. This can bring on feelings of great loss and hopelessness. We've experienced loss of connections from being isolated through most of the past year and a half. So we also want to rebuild. Rebuild what we've physically lost, but also our relationships, our friendships, our community bonds to each other, our ties to our supports, to not just rebuild our physical community, but to rebuild our feelings of hope, our feelings for a brighter future, and love for one another. We don't always talk about love in the community sense, but we all need love. And if we can find ways to share love and not negativity, not let the divisiveness tear us apart and tear us down, but find a way to love one another, find a way to find love in each other. The 3 R's are seen by our team here at the Department of Behavioral Health and all of our wonderful partners that you can talk to today as an opportunity to focus on the positives and the resilience of our community. We are a strong and resilient community. We have come back from many challenging things. We just had the last weekend, the anniversary of the Creek Fire, and a gathering where people came together and reminded ourselves that we can get through these things. We can overcome huge challenges by supporting one another. This week, our Board of Supervisors once again formally recognized Suicide Prevention Month, and we're so proud to continue to have the support of our leaders in this community and all of our cross-sector efforts through our partners to reduce suicide-related deaths in our county. The Board of Supervisors also continued our commitment to fund the Central Valley Regional Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That number is 1-800-273-8255. The Lifeline, which is run by our partner Kingsview, is a regional resource that we're very proud of that's part of the National Lifeline. A lot of people don't realize that the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is made up of a lot of regional lifelines that support one another and connect one another and make sure that we can all support when people are in crisis. Fresno County is the major funder of that. We're one of the larger counties in this region. Our board also approved a new Mental Health Services Act funded innovation pilot. Innovation funds are funds we use to try and test new things, which will work with our local suicide prevention lifeline to implement a follow-up call program. It's a model that's been shown to reduce suicide attempts and connect people to the right services to help them as they get through whatever crisis that they're experiencing. We often find that those who attempt or complete suicide have not been engaged in services. So we know if we can find ways to make sure that when people are struggling, that they know that there's help and that they know how to access that help. And with the follow-up call program, our hope is that people we know are struggling get those connected to those services. Our department is committed to ensuring that the people we serve in Fresno County know the signs of someone who's struggling and how to access care. And here at DBH, we like to say we are where hope and healing unite. Now I'd like to turn it over to the chair of our Board of Supervisors, Steve Brandow.
Thank you, Duan, and those were great words. I'm Steve Brandow, Chairman of the Fresno County Board of Supervisors, and I'm joined today by Supervisor Nathan Maxig. In a moment, we're going to present Duan with a resolution that was passed unanimously at the board yesterday. But right before that, I'm going to make a remark or two, and I think Supervisor Maxig is as well. You know, this really hits home, Duan, and I appreciate all your words. I was really listening as you spoke. The part about love is extremely important in our society. About 4 weeks ago, in a small men's Bible study that I have at my house on Wednesday evenings, one of the guys came in. His name is Eddie. And the day before, on Tuesday, his stepson, 15 years old, committed suicide. Now, that youngster was living in a different, in a different home, but the impact was tragic. And in the 4 weeks that have ensued, there have been many prayers, conversations, ways of support. This guy in our group and also his family. And let me tell you, there wasn't a dry eye in the place with men talking about such a substantial thing that's happened in one of our lives. And really, even those of us who were not personally affected, like myself, it brings really reflective, deep thoughts about family, friends, neighbors, community. And so we're really glad, Dewan, for all your efforts, the Department of Behavioral Health. Your whole team, by the way, needs to be applauded for keeping these things at the forefront of a community's heart and mind. We appreciate that. And we want to thank all of the members of the collaborative that are here today also. Law enforcement plays a big part, but also people like JP Marketing and others who do a great job helping us get the word out in Fresno County. So I'd like to invite Supervisor Maxig to step forward and make a few remarks. Nathan.
Thank you. And I too would like to thank Dewan. And Dewan mentioned how the Board of Supervisors not only passed a resolution, but also at a recent board meeting we approved new funding for this next budget year. In addition to that new funding is an increase. So if you look at what was spent last year and what we're going to be spending this next year, it's about a 30% increase for a particular program. And I think about Fresno County and our community, and really when I think about suicide and how tragic it is, many people, of course, get depressed, whether it be because of COVID-19, whether it be because of isolation, or just other factors. I'm reminded that as a community, we are connected. And whenever there is a death, whether we directly know that individual or we know someone who's been impacted by it, there are ripples, just like when you throw a pebble into a pond. And every life here in Fresno County is valuable. A few years ago, in Clovis Unified School District, there were several cases, unfortunate cases, where young people were taking their lives. And I really applaud the efforts of the kids on those campuses as well as the school district that came together to figure out a plan to try to prevent more young people taking their lives. And I know right now, during the times that we're in, with COVID-19 and isolation and school schedules, which really are difficult for kids, many of them are contemplating suicide. And this is something that is a priority for Fresno County. Our entire board is united in fighting against suicide. And I look at the work of the Department of Behavioral Health, and it's a program, it's a department sometimes that doesn't get enough attention, but there are contractors that work with them as well as employees that many times are on the phone with individuals that are contemplating suicide, and they are the first line of defense to really talk people out of and to bring them hope and help that they do need. So I too want to echo what the chairman has just said and thank DeJuan for having this event today, and to again commit that the Board of Supervisors as well as the entire county of Fresno is committed to eradicating suicide. Thank you.
Thank you both. We have a number of our partners in this work here today. I want to call out Heinz Hospice and the local outreach to survivors of suicide, as well as the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools, one of our strong partners in our work to reach kids and youth, and Kingsview, and the work that they're doing with our suicide prevention hotline and this new follow-up program. We have many other partners in this work, and this work cannot be done on our own. It really does take the whole community, arm in arm, supporting one another, recognizing when one of our friends, our family members, our neighbors is struggling, and let them know that there is help and there is hope. And so we're all available to answer any questions. We have a mural that we're going to be signing to represent what brings us hope in our community. And so we thank you for being here today and helping to spread this message.
We want to present this to you, and then, so really quickly, I mentioned this a moment ago, and let's step out here where people can see. I mentioned this a moment ago. Yesterday, the Fresno County Board of Supervisors passed a resolution. It's something that we do annually, but we recommit and reconfirm, as Supervisor Magzig talked about, our commitment to the Department of Behavioral Health, DeJuan and her team, and then all of the others that she mentioned that are part of the collaborative, recognizing September as Suicide Prevention Month. There's a lot of work to be done, and we've got good people in Fresno County that are working on it. We appreciate that, DeJuan. Thank you for all the work.